welcome to this, and this will be my 9th anniversary show preview. I did want to do a preview of this, because I won't be able to do a review the night of the show, and there are some things about this I did want to talk about. It's a little late, but I figure a lot of people that will probably want to watch it will be able to watch it tonight, and the others probably be able to see it before the iPay-per-view actually airs. And but let's talk about this thing, because there's been a lot of talk about it. First thing is, there is not a lot of, I don't want to say hype, but a lot of momentum going into this. And I want to say, well, let me see why I think that is. I think there's a couple of reasons. First reason being is you don't have the big angle that, well, let me take that back. Let me go back to last year. People forget that the first iPay-per-view of last year was Big Bang. Big Bang didn't have a lot going for it. I mean, the big match that I can remember off the top of my head was the three-way with Aries and Black and Davey Richards. And the reason for that had a lot to do with Final Battle and also the 9th anniversary show itself. You had the 9th anniversary show before you had Big Bang. So there was, I don't know, you had some lead up to the Big Bang. And also last year, this is another thing, is last year, you know, at Final Battle you had the big angle with Steen and El Generico. It had been leading up. There was a pretty big angle that people, you know, wanted to see more of. And so that also was kind of a big deal in the whole, you know, leading up to the Big Bang. This year you don't have that angle. This year, you know, you've gone right from Final Battle, which didn't have that big angle. There hasn't been a lot of build-up for this. On top of that, you also, you know, with the announcement that, you know, the HDNet deal basically went away, and I think that hurt people. I think that hurt ROH's momentum and the fact of how people view ROH, and I think it was kind of like, and so people kind of, you know, weren't you know, were kind of, I don't know, not as excited after hearing that about ROH, and so I think that hurt it. And also the card itself isn't a wow card, and I think the reason why it's not a wow card is because, again, you had nothing from Final Battle to really lead up into this pay-per-view, and I think that has hurt it. And I think that's a big part of it, and I think that, especially going from now forward, you know, with the pay-per-views and the fact that they're not going to have HDNet at all, they're not going to have that show at all, just shows that they're going to have to, you know, the pay-per-views are going to kind of have to sell the pay-per-views in a lot of ways, and you know, you're going to have angles on the pay-per-views that are going to have to lead to the next iPay-per-views and so forth and so forth. And of course, the next iPay-per-views are going to be the WrestleMania weekend shows, and hopefully, we haven't really gotten a lot for those shows. If I remember right, I think the only thing they've announced is that Christopher Daniels on Friday is going to get a world title shot, which, you know, that doesn't set the world on fire. But hopefully we get some sort of announcement. And I think also what I think they also announced. No, they haven't announced, I don't think, anything else yet. But hopefully they announce something tomorrow at the iPay-per-view, and that we get some sort of, you know, reason to want to order 2 shows, though I understand HDNet and or HDNet. Listen to me. Go Fight Live and ROH. They're doing a deal. If you order both, you get a discounted rate. So there's that. So, anyways, we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, hopefully we get something announced during this pay-per-view, and hopefully we get something happen that will get people excited, because really there's nothing to get people excited on the show. And let me go down the show and just kind of explain why I think that is. First, apparently the opener is going to be a 4-corner survival. I'm fine with one of these matches. I think they're a good little opener. Though, you know, the guys in it, I think you could have done something a little different. You have Steve Corino, which, if you haven't seen his kind of new gimmick, it's actually pretty good. Kyle O'Reilly, Grizzly, Redwood, and then the Prodigy, Mike Bennett, who, you know, they're really behind this guy. He needed to be on pay-per-view. We're definitely building up a Corino-Mike Bennett feud. So there we go. So that will probably be the extent of this. This could be good. we'll have to wait and see. Then we have the Women of Honor, Daisy Hayes, listen to me, Sara Del Rey versus MsChif. If you've never seen MsChif, MsChif is actually really good. I actually like her more than Daisy Hayes. She's very good at selling, particularly since the fact that she can be twisted into all sorts of weird and wacky ways. Hopefully they give this time. They really haven't given a lot of the women's matches a lot of time. That's unfortunate. I think if they actually gave the women's matches some time, people would get behind them more, so we'll have to wait and see there. I do expect, with Shimmer being out of Chicago, I do expect this to probably get, and MsChif usually in Chicago gets a pretty good reaction, so this could be, as far as fan interaction, could be pretty good. Then we get Michael Elgin with Truth Martini taking on El Generico. This is really, to me, the first, why is this on this? I kind of get it. I have a feeling this is going to lead probably down the road to an El Generico Roderick Strong feud, though, you know, this is kind of a weird way to do it. So again, I'm kind of this is probably the one match on the pay-per-view, and I know people have said, oh, it's kind of understand it. This should be really good. I will say that. I'm not feeling it. This is just one of those matches that, you know, this with Four Corner Survival, usually you can have one of these matches on the pay-per-view to where you're just kind of like, why is this on the pay-per-view? You can't have two, just my opinion. Then we have Colt Cabana versus Davey Richards. A lot of people have kind of scoffed at this. You know, Colt Cabana has said he wants to take on the best. Davey Richards has kind of said, you know, he wants to go back up the ladder. It works in that way. I do expect it to be a really good match. You know, Davey Richards can work with a lot of people. I don't know, you know, and I think they can have a very different type of match than probably what people are thinking, and I still think it can be, you know, fairly good. I don't think it'll be great. Could be great. I don't know. Maybe a lot of them will go out there and kind of steal the show. I don't see this as being a show-stealing match, though. So I still think it'll be good. Then you have kind of the reason why I want to watch it, though I know not everyone is that way. Jay and Mark Briscoe versus Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas. I'm a big Briscoe's Mark, so seeing them versus Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas to me is a big deal, so that's why I want to buy this. But I know not everyone's going to feel the same way. And they really haven't done a good enough job of really building this up and making it feel like a big deal. You know, when Haas and Benjamin came in for Glory by Honor, it was a big deal because, you know, this was the first time. Now they've been in Ring of Honor for a while. They've been on TV, so it's not that much big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. So that kind of, I think, hurts the luster of this match. I think when they probably announced this match, I really thought they probably thought this would help sell the pay-per-view. It really hasn't. So I think, you know, another reason why people just aren't excited about it. Then we get Christopher Daniels versus Eddie Edwards. This, I think, will be great. It's a 2 out of 3 falls with a 30-minute time limit, so I have a feeling we might see a draw here. Which I'd be fine. You know, they're kind of going with the idea that, you know, both guys are very even, so I could definitely see this going, and then somewhere down the line, maybe getting, you know, a 60-minute match somewhere down the line. So there we go with that. Though, if you don't have TV, having a World TV title seems kind of odd. Maybe they'll address that. Who knows? Then we got the Kings of Wrestling versus All Night Express. Again, you've done an okay job of building up the All Night Express, but, you know, you really haven't shown them to be, are they the #1 contenders? And I really do think this will be the first match of, like, Kings of Wrestling versus All Night Express feud. And I don't think they've done a good enough job of really building that up. And so, again, this is another match where people are kind of like, why are, you know, Kings of Wrestling taking out All Night Express? And they're really not hyped about the match. Then you got Roderick Strong taking on Homicide. They made this no holds barred, which will probably help. But, you know, no one's really been behind Homicide because Homicide really hasn't had a great, you know, blockbuster match for the most part, you know, since coming back to Ring of Honor. So that has hurt. Roderick Strong's not looked at as a strong champion in a lot of people's eyes, so that hurts the match. So it's just overall, you know, that hurts the match. Though I do expect, and I do think, we're going to get some weirdness with this match. And this will probably lead on to a further storyline. I really think this is one of those pay-per-views that I don't expect this pay-per-view to do a lot of business. I don't expect a lot from this pay-per-view myself. I expect this to kind of be a pay-per-view where this is kind of the jumping off point. This is where they're going to start, you know, building up the storylines for the rest of the year is on this pay-per-view. And there's a serious question there: is that something that they should be doing? Or should they have, there's nothing on this pay-per-view that really just is I have to buy this pay-per-view. Like I said, I think they thought the Briscoes versus Haas and Benjamin would be that. It's not. And so everything else on this pay-per-view that I think was just supposed to be the start of a storyline just makes it that much more lacking. And I think it's lacking that much. I still think this will be a really good pay-per-view. I think it has a possibility of being a great pay-per-view, depending on how they do things. And I do think, again, I think the main event, while it's weak, I think it's meant to lead on to other things. I think it's one of those type of main events. And there's a question of should you be doing that on pay-per-view, particularly on a weak card like this. And I think that's a fair question to ask. So there's just kind of my thoughts on the pay-per-view. Like I said, I'm still going to order it because, like I said, I'm a Briscoes mark. I've really liked what Haas and Benjamin have done since being in Ring of Honor. So there is that. And like I said, I do expect us to get some sort of announcement about the WrestleMania shows and kind of what we'll expect, and maybe kind of a big announcement on those shows, because putting on back-to-back shows, you're gonna have to have something that's a pretty big deal, or I don't see people are gonna buy them, particularly WrestleMania weekend, when people have other things they're gonna want to buy, particularly WrestleMania. Even though how many of the Ring of Honor fans that are willing to watch this on the internet are willing to actually buy WrestleMania? I don't know. Maybe that's the bet they're making. I don't know, but there's kind of my thoughts on this. Like I said, it'll probably be Monday or Tuesday before I'll probably be able to actually review the show. So hopefully it's really good. I really think that it'll, at the very least, will be really good as far as the wrestling goes. Like I said, this just seems like a show that was built up to other shows, and I don't think they can really do this, particularly with the back-to-back shows, unless they have something really big planned for the WrestleMania weekend shows. I mean, really big, really big stuff that people are gonna be like, I gotta order both shows. Unless they have something really big for that, I just don't think you can go out there and put on this type of pay-per-view. I just don't think you can. Like I said, I in my mind, I really think they thought that the Briscoes versus Benjamin and Haas would be a bigger deal in people's eyes, and it just really isn't. And I think that is that, along with the fact that you really didn't have anything leading from Final Battle to this pay-per-view, really hurt. The loss of the HD Net deal, I think that in people's minds hurts this pay-per-view. I think overall you have all these things that just hurt the pay-per-view, and so it looks like it's going to be more of a jumping-off point, and there's nothing really just to hook people, and that's Ring of Honor's fault. That clearly falls on their part, because they just haven't done their job of marketing this pay-per-view, which this is the first pay-per-view I would say that they really haven't done a really good job of. So hopefully this is, some sort of just odd thing out. This just happens to be, they've done this really good job, and eventually you're going to have the one that whatever you do, you're not going to be able to do. Hopefully that's this, and it's not just whatever, But anyways, with that, I'm out. Have a good one.